Hello, welcome back. It's Sunday and it's freezing cold outside. Let's read some more. I need a bit cooler. So this video I just like to reading because I like to learning something new. So it's not always I like to talk about what I'm reading. Now I was reading about Auschwitz concentration camps yesterday. So today I'd like to read about the Holocaust. I read about it in when I was the high school, my high school degrees. So now I like to read about it again on Wikipedia. Is why I do it. We have many like this. We have in the Stalin, in the Gulag, in Siberia. They have this working camps, killing many millions of people, but not like the Holocaust. That was some killing concentration camps. Was some killing factories. That was super evil. So let's read about it, but I'm not going to talk a lot about it, just like to read about it. So that I'm reading about something else next. But now I'm older, I'm soon age 60. So just like to learning something new about the world I was living in. Yes, many teenagers, they don't know about this Holocaust. They don't know much about history or Second World War, Nazi Germany. They don't know anything about it.
The Holocaust. This is a good article. Click here for more information. Page extended protected. The Holocaust part of World War I. A large number of people standing beside a railway siding with the camp gate in the background. Jews arriving at Auschwitz II in German-occupied Poland, May 1944. Most were selected to go to gas chambers. Location Europe, primarily German-occupied Poland and the Soviet Union. Date 1941-1945. 1. Attack type genocide, ethnic cleansing, mass murder, mass hooting, poisongas, hate crime edicts. Round 6 million Jews perpetrators. Nazi Germany along with its collaborators and allies. The Holocaust was the genocide of European Jews during World War II. Between 1941 and 1945, Nazi Germany and its collaborators systematically murdered some 6 million Jews across German-occupied Europe, around two-thirds of Europe's Jewish population. The murders were carried out primarily through mass hootings and poison gas in extermination camps, chiefly Auschwitz-Birkenau, Treblinka, Belzec, Sobibor, and Chelmo in occupied Poland. The Nazis developed their ideology based on racism and pursuit of living space, and seized power in early 1933. In an attempt to force all German Jews to emigrate, the regime passed anti-Jewish laws and orchestrated a nationwide pogrom in November 1938. After Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, occupation authorities began to establish ghettos to segregate Jews. Following the invasion of the Soviet Union in June 1941, 1.5 to 2 million Jews were shot by German forces and local collaborators. Later in 1941 or early 1942, the highest levels of the German government decided to murder all Jews in Europe. Victims were deported by rail to extermination camps where, if they survived the journey, most were killed with poison gas. Other Jews continued to be employed in forced labor camps where many died from starvation, abuse or exhaustion, too, or used as test subjects in deadly medical experiments. 3. Although many Jews tried to escape, surviving in hiding was difficult due to factors such as the lack of money to pay helpers and the risk of denunciation. The property, homes, and jobs belonging to murdered Jews were redistributed to German occupiers and other non-Jews. Although the majority of Holocaust victims died in 1942, the killing continued at a lower rate until the end of the war in May 1945. Separate Nazi persecutions killed a similar or larger number of non-Jewish civilians and POWs. The term Holocaust is sometimes used to also refer to the persecution of these other groups. Many Jewish survivors emigrated outside of Europe after the war. A few Holocaust perpetrators faced criminal trials. Billions of dollars in reparations have been paid, although falling short of the Jews' losses. The Holocaust has also been commemorated in museums, memorials, and culture. It has become central to Western historical consciousness as a symbol of the ultimate human evil. Terminology and scope. The term Holocaust, derived from a Greek word meaning burnt offering, has become the most common word used to describe the Nazi extermination of Jews in English and many other languages. 5. The term Holocaust is sometimes used to refer to the persecution of other groups that the Nazis targeted. 6. Especially those targeted on a biological basis, in particular the Roma and Sinti, as well as Soviet prisoners of war and Polish and Soviet civilians. 7, 8, 9. All of these groups, however, were targeted for different reasons. 10. By the 1970s, the adjective Jewish was dropped as redundant and Holocaust, now capitalized, became the default term for the destruction of European Jews. 11. The Hebrew word show, catastrophic destruction, exclusively refers to Jewish victims. 5, 6, 7. The perpetrators used the phrase final solution as a euphemism for their genocide of Jews. 12. Background. A postcard of a river with buildings behind it. View of the Penitz River, c. 1900, with the Grand Synagogue of Nuremberg. Destroyed in 1938 during the November pogroms. Jews have lived in Europe for more than 2,000 years. 13. Throughout the Middle Ages in Europe, Jews were subjected to antisemitism based on Christian theology, which blamed them for killing Jesus. 14. 15. In the 19th century, many European countries granted full citizenship rights to Jews in hopes that they would assimilate. 16. By the early 20th century, most Jews in Central and Western Europe were well integrated into society, while in Eastern Europe, where emancipation had arrived later, many Jews still lived in small towns, spoke Yiddish, and practiced Orthodox Judaism. 17. Political antisemitism positing the existence of a Jewish question and usually an international Jewish conspiracy emerged in 18th and 19th century due to the rise of nationalism in Europe and industrialization that increased economic conflicts between Jews and non-Jews. 18. 19. Some scientists began to categorize humans into different races and argued that there was a life or death struggle between them. 20. Many racists argued that Jews were a separate racial group alien to Europe. 21. 22. The turn of the 20th century saw a major effort to establish a German colonial empire overseas, leading to the Hero and Nama genocide and subsequent racial apartheid regime in Southwest Africa. 23. 24. World War I. 1914-1918, intensified nationalist and racist sentiments in Germany and other European countries. 25. Jews in Eastern Europe were targeted by widespread pogroms. 26. Germany had 2 million were dead and lost a substantial territory. Winking sad smiley. 25. Opposition to the post-war settlement united Germans across the political spectrum. 27. 28. The military promoted the untrue but compelling idea that, rather than being defeated on the battlefield, Germany had been stabbed in the back by socialists and Jews. 27. 29. See caption. 1919 Austrian postcards showing a Jew stabbing a German army soldier in the back. The Nazi Party was founded in the wake of the war. 30. And its ideology is often cited as the main factor explaining the Holocaust. 31. From the beginning, the Nazis, not unlike other nation-states in Europe, dreamed of a world without Jews. They identified as the embodiment of everything that was wrong with modernity. 10. The Nazis defined the German nation as a racial community unbounded by Germany's physical borders. 32. And sought to purge it of racially foreign and socially deficient elements. 27. 33. The Nazi Party and its leader, Adolf Hitler, were also obsessed with reversing Germany's territorial losses and acquiring additional land and swarm, living space, in Eastern Europe for colonization. 34. 35. These ideas appealed to many Germans. 36. The Nazis promised to protect European civilization from the Soviet threat. 37. Hitler believed that Jews controlled the Soviet Union, as well as the Western powers, and were plotting to destroy Germany. 38. 39. 40. Rise of Nazi Germany. See caption. Territorial expansion of Germany from 1933 to 1941 amidst a worldwide economic depression and political fragmentation. The Nazi Party rapidly increased its support, reaching a high of 37% in mid-1932 elections. 41. 42. By campaigning on issues such as anti-communism and economic recovery. 43. 44. Hitler was appointed Chancellor in January 1933 in a backroom deal supported by right-wing politicians. 41. Within months, all other political parties were banned. The regime seized control of the media. 45. Tens of thousands of political opponents, especially communists, were arrested, and a system of camps for extrajudicial imprisonment was set up. 46. The Nazi regime cracked down on crime and social outsiders such as Roma and Sinti homosexual men, and those perceived as work shy through a variety of measures, including imprisonment in concentration camps. 47. The Nazis forcibly sterilized 400,000 people and subjected others to forced abortions for real or supposed hereditary illnesses. 48, 49, 50. Although the Nazis sought to control every aspect of public and private life, 51. Nazi repression was directed almost entirely against groups perceived as outside the national community. Most Germans had little to fear provided they did not oppose the new regime. 52, 53. The new regime built popular support through economic growth, which partly occurred through state-led measures such as rearmament. 45. The annexations of Austria, 1938, Sudetenland, 1938, and Bohemia and Moravia, 1939, also increased the Nazis' popular support. 54. Germans were inundated with propaganda both against Jews, 45, and other groups targeted by the Nazis. 49. Persecution of Jews. The roughly 500,000 German Jews made up less than 1% of the country's population in 1933. They were wealthier on average than other Germans and largely assimilated, although a minority were recent immigrants from Eastern Europe. 55, 56, 57. Various German government agencies, Nazi party organizations, and local authorities instituted about 1,500 anti-Jewish laws. 58. In 1933, Jews were banned or restricted from several professions and the civil service. 54. After hounding the German Jews out of public life by the end of 1934, the regime passed the Nuremberg laws in 1935. 59.